Live. Hi guys, welcome to the Save the Cat Experiments live again, week 4. Brittany and I are here to hang out with you guys tonight, and we just want to say really quick, say hi if you're here in the comments so we know you're here. And if you are like brand new to this, that's okay. We'll catch you up. If you are watching the replay, that's awesome too. You'll still learn a lot. You'll get a lot out of this tonight. We're going over the Save the Cat beats. Most of you probably know, and the description box below will tell you everything else that you need to know. And then I just want to always introduce my co-host, Brittany. Brittany, want to say hi?
Hey everybody, we're so excited tonight to get on with these other beats. We hope you are too.
Yay! So really quick, a summary of what we're doing tonight. We are going to go over what we know so far. We're going to give you what we have created, this fun little summary of the story. And then we're going to tell you about last week, which was the catalyst and the debate. And we're going to tell you what's been decided for that. And then we're going to bust right into the, hold on, I know this. The break into two / hold on, scrolling, the B story. I should know this. I'm like, there's so many beats, you guys, and they're like so complicated and awesome. So I want to make sure, but we're kind of jumping into the Act 2 world tonight. And so we're going to do that. And then at the end, make sure you stick around because we're going to name some characters and we're going to name some places, hopefully, if we have time. So I was going to let Brittany maybe start with the recap of what we know so far. And we'll kind of take turns, you guys.
And you guys, if you are linked into our website that has like the cheat sheet kind of outline that you get the password to when you sign up for the newsletter, you can sort of see it more in detail, but we just sort of wrote up a very kind of brief summary just so we can move ahead. So this is the stuff you need to know for us to go forward.
Yes.
So in a forest or wooded land, two warrior princesses are on opposite sides of an ancient family feud between their two shifter tribes. And these tribes are sort of inspired by Viking culture. There are two warring tribes in a revenge cycle. So there's been a lot of death and a lot of like killing and, you know, they're in that revenge cycle. Then we have the Earth tribe, and I am going to let Bethany talk about the Earth tribe.
Okay, sweet. So the Earth tribe is the ones that can shape shift into the beasts of the land, and they are ruled by the lion shifters, as we're calling them, and they're wealthy, powerful, honorable, very rules oriented, just in general as a culture. And so is the main character Thera, and she is the heir of this Earth tribe. And she is hiding the fact that she's always had trouble shifting. So that's her struggle. And then she is overly cocky to kind of overcompensate for it and is trying to avoid needing to shift at all if possible. And what she is learning in the story, what her need is to learn that she's good enough. And then Brittany will do lore.
So the Sky tribe can shapeshift into beasts of the air and are ruled by the eagle shifters and are less well off. They're cutthroat and manipulative. They have like looser morals. And then Lore is our other main character. She is the heir of the Sky tribe, who is a trickster, an expert shifter, and she is using her ability to hide something. And this is where we're going to talk about more about this later, but we're sort of going back and forth about what exactly she is hiding based on some stuff we talked about last week, but we'll get there. Do you want to read this next section? What you don't know yet?
Oh, sure. So they don't realize that they're sisters. And we kind of, you guys know if you've been here through all the other 3 that we've been back and forth about this a lot. But we really like the idea of them being twin sisters. So this is how we figure it. The Eagle King had a secret affair with the Lion Queen, and they secretly had twins. The Lion Queen only revealed one daughter to her husband, the Lion King. And I know it sounds like the movie, but it's not. And she named her Thera. And then she told the Eagle King to take the other daughter, the other twin. And so he took her away to his Eagle Queen. And we've decided so far all we have is that they're unable to have kids. So we kind of think that they're going to be happy to have a child. And then we did reveal some of this last week to you. And so Brittany's going to go over some of the changes we made based on what we heard from you guys.
Yes. So here's where we had originally sort of had Laura's dad killed off like early on in her life, leaving her with her stepmom, who originally was resenting her. Her shard of glass was that she wasn't feeling accepted by her mom, which was like the only person she ever wanted acceptance from. And so her shard was like, she doesn't want to let anybody in, you know, to who she really is. We would still like to keep that shard of glass, but we heard you guys last week that you would like the stepmom to have more of like a redeemable or good kind of bent. And so if we go in the direction of the stepmom being like a good mom, even if she has some flaws herself, we were thinking that maybe, and this was actually a suggestion, and I didn't know who said it. So if it was you, definitely say it in the comments. But someone was saying maybe the Eagle King, instead of being like, hey, I just had an affair and now you have to accept this child into your life, is more, he comes up with a story of like, oh, like this tribe was like attacked and like she was the only survivor and we need to take her in. And so instead of resenting her, the stepmom could be more of like, oh, I've never been able to have kids. Like this is my like answer to prayer kind of deal, and makes her sort of like the daughter she never had. And so in the sense of like, even if there's like some, like maybe she doesn't raise her in the right way or like puts too much pressure on her, some of you were saying last week, she still like has this inner like love for her. So we're sort of in this place of like trying to figure out where the shard of glass sort of came from. Maybe the whole tribe knows that Laura is adopted and they don't fully accept her as like the next ruler because of that. Or maybe her parents know that the truth, and like both of them know the truth, and so they push her to become a great shifter. And so she's trying to hide like the fact that she already knows that she has lion like ishness in her blood. She started to see lion aspects and fears like further rejection, so either by her tribe or by her parents, and so she's afraid her parents and her tribe will find out, and she, in the meantime, she's admired for her gift but fears that the lion side will ruin everything, so she doesn't want to let anybody in. So there's a few different ways we were thinking of sort of going through that. So let us know if any of those sort of stick out to you, because we would love to know which one is like, yes, we should do that one.
Yeah.
So with this, we sort of have that the father is actually currently alive, and we have inserted potentially an evil uncle. So I don't think we've said if it's like on the dad's side or on the mom's side. People are saying that they like this idea though, so I'm excited. But yeah, so that sort of brings us into what we decided from last week about the catalyst and the debate. And I think we were going to talk about lore first. Did you want me to do that, Bethany, or did you want to
go for it? Yeah. And so guys, let us know, like we decided, Brittany and I were like, do we need to know this now? No. And could it change? Totally. So we just wanted to run those ideas by you. If you have a favorite, let us know. Be really specific, because the comments go around and like, you know, it's hard to track like which one you were referring to. So definitely be specific on which one you like. And then, yeah, we're going to dive right into what's decided from last week with the catalyst and debate.
Okay, so I'm going to do Lore's catalyst and debate first, and then Bethany's going to do Fira's. So for Lore, we had her uncle, who we don't know, or she doesn't know is evil yet, reports an attack by the other tribe. And he's sort of like the advisor to the king. Maybe we've got like a little like Lion King like scar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although we're on the eagle side, we're not on the lion side right now, right? So on the eagle side with Lore, her uncle reports an attack by the other tribe. The uncle, the advisor, tries to send the father and Lore to, into that, but it ends up being an ambush. And so we don't want Lore to be there yet. Maybe like her father doesn't allow her to go because he doesn't think she's ready or she's not old enough. And so the father goes, but he's ambushed. So it's like a setup. And the father is killed. So that's her catalyst. It like changes her whole life. And Lore, the uncle, ends up like really surprised that Lore didn't go, because he wanted her out of the picture as well, because he wants to be king. He sort of has this like thing that like he knows that Lore's adopted, or like there's something funky going on, and he's like, she shouldn't even be the ruler. I should be the ruler. So he's been trying to get them sort of out of the picture. Lore's still alive. So the uncle is going to send Lore to seek revenge at the sacred place, And so I think we were talking about possibly that he says, like we have some intel that like the heir from the other side is going to be there on this certain night. And if like, if you really want to be the next ruler, you want to like prove that you're ready, like you need to go seek revenge. And but what he's really planning is that someone is going to come and ambush her there and kill her, which we're not going to let happen. Don't worry. So then her debate kind of is like is less of like a debate and more about a preparation sequence. So Jessica sort of talks about both of those in her book. And so if it's a preparation sequence, she's more asking, I know I'm going, but am I ready? And so we have like maybe some scenes where like the tribe is panicking and maybe she talks to her stepmom and she's trying to get like some counsel or some advice about how to go about this. But we have this point where she has to decide, okay, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go seek revenge. So that's lore. I'm going to give it to Bethany for Thera.
Okay, sweet. And I'm going to answer just a couple comments quick because I see them coming in. Geraldine says it sounds like your mother-in-law, and I was cracking up with that. And then who was it? EC Victoria was saying maybe the stepmom lost a pregnancy and so resents her stepdaughter a little because of it. And yeah, we were totally like going the resentment route. But then last week, if you watch, you can go back and watch that video later. We kind of got a lot of feedback that the resenting stepmom felt like kind of a trope that's done a lot. So now we're switching gears. And so I noticed, who was it? Was it Gabriella Starling said she could know that she was different, but not know why. The dad made up a story, but neither of the parents told her. So we're going to write all these down, you guys. I can't go through all the comments now, but we're going to come back to them every so often. So I'm going to keep going, though, with Thera's catalyst and debate. Are you guys ready? All right. So we just wanted to really quick say her shard of glass is that she didn't complete this ritual, whatever it is. We're going to go more into detail in a minute. But basically, there's something when they turn maybe around 13, for instance, that is like a rite of passage or a ritual that we haven't figured out yet. That's tonight. And whatever it was, she didn't do it. She didn't complete it. So that's why she has trouble with shifting, like we mentioned at the beginning. So that said, we were talking about a catalyst being that an instructor will come in after that opening image where Thera was like practicing, the shield maiden stuff with the other like students, other Viking-esque young men and women. And she's like storming off on her own, and the instructor follows her, and he is going to catch her accidentally shifting, possibly, whether into like griffin type stuff, like the wings that she shouldn't have because she's in the lion tribe, or maybe just an accident in general. Whatever the case may be, she's going to finally admit that she never completed the rite of passage. And once she does that, she's very cocky, like we know. So she says, no big deal, I'll be fine. But he reveals that she won't be fine, because if she doesn't complete this ceremony or whatever it is that we're going to figure out tonight, then she will lose her ability to shift. And so this is kind of like mind blown. It's what Jessica Brody calls the stasis death moment. Am I saying that right, Brittany? Stasis death moment? Okay. And so that is the moment where everything shifts and the character realizes that they can't stay the same way. Things have to change. So that's going to push her into her debate, which is actually also more of a preparation, just like the lore character. And it's not really even a question. She wants to keep her ability. So her debate section is going to be preparing to go on that rite of passage journey. We're thinking that it's going to be like going to a specific place, which leads to tonight, the break into two, the new world where they're going to possibly meet. How much do we want to reveal, Brittany?
Yeah, no, I think we want to, just briefly say what we're thinking the break into two and the story is, like in those one sentence. So do you want me to share that?
Sure. So we have this very bare bones, like foundation of what the break into two and the B story could be tonight. We're thinking that if Thera is going off to perform this rite of passage, so to speak, and Lore is coming to kill her, then obviously they're meeting in this new world. So the break into two is those two things. They're going to do the Rite of Passage, and Laura's trying to kill Thera. I think that's as much as we want to say so far.
Yeah, and just the fact that like the B story, we were thinking, oh, okay, the B story is gonna, or them meeting is gonna be the catalyst. But the more we thought about it, the more we were like, well, we'd really love them to be each other's B story, so that really comes later. So there should be like a catalyst that like brings them together, and then their B story is that they like find out like that they're either that they're sisters, or if we don't want to go there that far, they have some kind of connection, or they meet in some way, and they end up starting on this journey together, helping each other learn the theme. So we decided to sort of back things up and do more of like a catalyst for each of them that then brings them together in the Act 2 world for the B story.
Yeah, love it. So what do you guys think of that? Let us know in the comments. Yeah. Somebody was saying, is the uncle's motivation that he wants the throne?
I think that's sort of our motivation at the moment. Yes. And and I was just thinking too, like if we're thinking this is too close to like Lion King, like we could just say that like he's an advisor who has this like alternate, like he wants the throne, and if he can get rid of like the previous line of lion like people, I mean eagle people, they're eagles, like maybe he's not an eagle, maybe he's like a different animal shifter, but he's like trying to get control or something, and but they don't know it. So Jem has a few things here, and someone said, oh, I like Jem's idea, so I'm just going to read some of her thoughts here. So what if the uncle also has lion blood and he resents not being able to belong on either side, even though his brother gave him the advisor position? And when Laura's debating, the mom is really trying to push her towards not revenge, because that's of course never the right path, but she ends up giving into her anger. Yes.
I like adding that to the debate. Yeah, where at least somebody is trying to speak reason into her.
Right.
Because we did say that the whole like going to take revenge was because somebody killed her father, right? We kind of covered that.
Yes.
So yeah, it feels like we were kind of picturing the uncle being very much like I don't know, riling her up, getting her worked up so that there's no reason. But it would be fun to bring in a couple people who have reason. But also we have that description at the beginning of how they're just two warring tribes. There's like this revenge cycle. I really like that phrase, where they naturally think this is what you do. If somebody kills someone in your family, you go kill somebody in theirs. And that's kind of like so much an unspoken rule that they don't even question it.
Right. And so, so it doesn't mean that the mom can't have like that, or stepmom can't have that, like maybe she has like a slightly different view, but we're looking at the eagles being even more so like unethical, and the lions being more honorable. So unless we swap that.
So she would be kind of an outlier if she did, but I like her being gentle and having a little bit. Or at least being like, can you do it tomorrow or something? Or like, can you take people with you and don't go alone or something like that?
Yeah, sure. Right.
And then the uncle, of course, is trying to ambush her. In theory, we're thinking like that if he's trying to basically take power, like we're talking, he probably wants her to go alone. So he'll rile her up into, oh, you don't need anybody. Just do it now or something.
Yeah. No, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Allison says, I like the idea of her losing the power because the ritual, especially since she's cocky, it'll be more of a struggle for her to accept. Samantha says, I'm still a bit confused about what the conflict of the shifter premise is exactly for the story. Knowing the purpose of the shifters or knowing who or what else occupies the world could lead into more ideas.
Definitely. That's true.
Yeah, and I think that's been part of our so we were just talking about this of like right now we went from like general concept and then we're going straight through the beats, and so we can talk about each beat as we go and like plan it. But if you actually read in the back of Jessica Brody's book here, what was the page number, Bethany?
276, I think.
276.
Yeah, 276.
So she goes into these 5 foundational beats that she actually usually plots before plotting every single beat, and she doesn't go in order necessarily.
Yeah.
So it helps her really figure out the ending and the premise, and then she fills in the other beats. So that's not how we're doing it. And because of that, there is like sort of that struggle of like, what is the big conflict? Like, what are we sort of leading to?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we were just talking about, it's like, okay, do we figure out like the ending before we like sort of go any further? And so let us know what you think about that, or if you have an idea for the basic premise as we get through. But I think our main thing, at least with the characters, is that they find out they're sisters, or they find out that somehow they're connected, and they are having to face their fears, and they're having to figure out how to help each other out. And possibly that there's like a larger conflict that they need each other to resolve,
Yeah, totally.
tribes together, or at least finding peace or something like that. So
I love that. Yeah. So if that's our end goal, if we know that eventually we want a happy ending, I think I like happy endings, at least, then we want them to do what she calls the fixing it the wrong way, the whole way leading up to that, or at least up to a certain point. We'll find out as we go, I think. It could be up to the midpoint, and then maybe we do what she calls the, why am I blanking on the word? Do you know the one where it's like if you have a victory, false victory, then.
Yes. So we want either a downward motion for the fun games towards the midpoint that is a false defeat, and then we go up for the rest of the book where it's like an upward motion where things are going well, or we can start the book where it's an upward motion with a midpoint that is a false victory, and then a downward motion where things are going bad until we hit the all is lost. So those are like the arcs, the two arcs. It's like sort of like choose your own adventure kind of deal. Those are like the two options that people typically do, so that you can sort of have this rising and falling effect during the book, or this falling and then rising kind of effect.
Yeah. And then also I know somewhere in there she talks about how even if you're mostly going on an upward path, you still have like a very rocky, it's a little bit roller coaster style. So I guess all that to say, like, maybe we do need to know the ending more, where we're going. Let us know if you guys think that we do, because Brittany and I were talking about this and we were like, honestly, we kind of know where we're going usually when we're plotting, and this time we don't. But that said, we can definitely do kind of a rocky path, and we can know that at least we're going to make it really hard on them, because otherwise there's no story, right? So I did see a cool comment from Anne McTavish, where the uncle could use reverse psychology, like tell Laura that she's too weak to go alone, and she decides she has to prove herself, which I love.
No, I like that twist too.
I like that because it's very much mental, like manipulative, cunning, which is so what we've created them to be in that particular tribe.
Totally.
Yeah. So should we bust into the break into two?
Yes, I think so. And Bethany did a great job. She has like these great questions that we're going to present to you guys. And then this is where we get into the brainstorming.
The nitty gritty. Yes, where we're messy. Okay, here we go. Brittany, do you want to do anything with the like kind of like describe what the break into two is, how you kind of wrote it out there? It was really good.
Yeah, so I took some quick notes about each beat. So this is the notes I took on break into two. The hero actively steps into Act 2 world and tries to fix things the wrong way. So we have the switch to the Act 2 world. They're doing things that they think are going to fix it, but it's not. They can go somewhere new, so like a literal journey, or try something new, a metaphorical journey that still changes their life. Make it your hero's choice to enter. So they have to be proactive. Even if someone else initially decides for them, there's something in them this means that there's something in them worth rooting for, worth reading about, because they're at least willing to try something new and they're making an effort. And then if the debate says like, what should I do? The break means I should do this and I will. So that's sort of the active part. And though they have not yet learned the theme, they're still at least willing, but we don't want them to completely learn the theme yet. They're still motivated by their want or their external goals. They're fixing things the wrong way, not yet addressing the deeper issues of the need. Whatever decision the hero makes, it's a temporary solution. So it's a Band-Aid. It's not true healing. You can figure out the right way, or you can't figure out the right way until you've tried it the wrong way. So I know that was a lot, but that's just sort of a summary. of break into two.
Yeah, that's so good. It's so important to like know where you're going. And the cool thing is, as you were saying that, we have some of that. Like everything kind of like bleeds over into everything else. So we've almost accidentally answered some of these questions, which is a relief. We have the what should I do? Thera is going off on this rite of passage. She knows she wants to keep her shifting. And Lore wants revenge. So we know what they want to do, even though it's the wrong way. It's fixing it the wrong way. So we have a few questions. We want to know what the Rite of Passage is. We want to know what the Act 2 world is going to be like for Thera. And we want to know what the Act 2 world is going to be like for Lore. So I thought we could go one at a time, if that's okay with you guys. So the Rite of Passage, let's start there. We like the idea of it somehow giving them control over shifting. Something that Thera didn't do. She did not complete it, and that's why she has almost no control at all over her shifting ability. So we have 4 options. One could be they have to travel to a very specific sacred place, like maybe they have a dream there, maybe they have a spiritual experience of some kind, definitely picturing a lot of like Native American Indian, like how they used to go. And I think they would, I don't remember exactly what happened, so I won't say. And then also Australian culture used to have something called like a walkabout. I saw in a movie once. Again, I don't know if I'm like saying accurate history. I'm talking movies. So I don't know how accurate that is. And then option 2, they could drink something, whether daily or a once upon a time, I don't know. And then option 3 is they could kill someone, which we talked about a few weeks ago, either a person or an animal, like probably a human, probably not another shifter, I don't know. And then option 4 would be to do a mix of the above, which who knows? I don't know if that would even work. So I don't know if you guys have any favorites out of those 4. Let us know.
See. We just have a couple questions too, as maybe we're getting some responses. Because Lucy is asking, do both tribes travel to the same sacred place?
Oh, see, that really makes it dangerous. Then they have to like fight as they try to go through the Rite of Passage. Maybe.
Which could be cool.
It could be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know that it directly affects the answer to that directly affects like the present story yet, but I think we're open to both, depending on where the story goes.
Yep, definitely. So just to follow that train of thought, so if it wasn't the same place, then we'd have to ask why, first of all, right? We'd have to ask what makes it sacred. Like, did they create it themselves? Or considering our history, our origin of the story, which is that initially all the shifters were from one family, the idea that they would all have one sacred place, and now it could be what they're fighting over. It could be the original fight. Like when they split, each side is like, no, it's mine. Or it could be that it's like the one place where they're supposed to have peace. And it's like the one place where they send people and there should be no fighting, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I sort of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then like there's an expectation that if I'm here, I'm safe. But then Lore is definitely moving into this space, looking for revenge, and that's like against like their tribal like agreement or something.
It's really bad. I love that. What if there was some way that kept out weapons to keep it safe? Like, I don't know if magic is involved in this world yet. We're not sure. We're still we're world building as we go. But if there was something to do with either personal promise, where they intentionally leave their weapons outside, and then Lore would sneak some in because she's disobeying, or they actually physically can't somehow.
Right. Or they're just not supposed, because I think part of their weapons too is like they're shifting. So like,
so they really have their claws or whatever they might have, or talons or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I had one other question too that came in about like, has Lore already completed the ritual, or is it just a myth that you lose your shifting powers if you don't complete it? We could sort of play with both. I think Lore probably has either way, but we were sort of playing around with this idea that maybe the instructor tells Thera to go do this, but it's not really true. But he tells her to do it because he's in
Ooh.
cahoots with the uncle.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get like Thera out on her own so that Lore can like kill her. I don't know.
Yeah, because we were talking about, and that came out of a cool brainstorming where it was like if the uncle is trying to get rid of Lore, and he would send her to go kill somebody, what if he specifically wanted her to kill the heir of the other? And like, how would he know that the heir was there unless there was some insider info, like from the other side? So, yeah. Oh man, this is complicated, but in a good way.
Yeah. Allison says, I like the idea of a dream idea, maybe even like a lucid dream kind of thing. But in the dream, they have to kill the person they love or admire most.
Ooh,
so it could be like, before people were, everybody's like, oh, they should kill something in order to like,
yeah.
But like maybe yeah, it's in a dream. I think Bethany and I would feel a little better about
I would feel better about that too. Yeah,
it's not an actual killing. For one sister, it could be her dead father. So she'd have to kill him again.
Like Lore had to kill maybe her father. Oh, what if the reason that Thera couldn't complete it is because the person she loved the most was herself and it freaked her out and she couldn't kill herself or something?
Oh my God. That is twisty.
Your face is like, no, okay, maybe not.
I don't know. No, I'm not like totally against it. I'm just like, that's like really interesting.
It's very twisty, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. That might be a bad idea.
No, it's fine. I think some people are saying too, they should travel to like the same, either way, it should be like the same sacred space. Like they should have to share it.
Okay. I really think it sounds like everybody's liking the sacred space better than the other two options, right? Because I'm kind of leaning that way too, but I don't know about you, Brittany. The potion is complicated. I didn't really know how that would work.
Yeah. Amber's saying, didn't they both come from one family though?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is yes, but it was probably a very, very, very long time ago.
Yep.
Now it's like been divided. So we sort of got the inspiration from Underworld because the lichens and the vampires, sorry if I'm spoiling stuff, guys, but in later movies, they reveal that the lichens and the vampires actually originally came from the same family, like long time ago. And then they sort of separated. There was like a curse and one became vampire and one became a lichen. And then obviously they had like spawn, and yeah, children, or they were like, I guess in that case, they bit people. And that's how they like furthered their kind. But originally we were thinking, yeah, it'd be cool to have like one family that it then broke. And then maybe during the story, the girls like realized that was, or there's some kind of feud between like, if there was like one king and then he had like two daughters and they like had a feud that then created the curse that gave them shifter abilities. We're still not completely sure of the backstory. That's part of the problem too. Yeah. But yeah, hope that clears up something.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many good comments. Like I'm gonna definitely go back and read all you guys' comments later afterwards to make sure I didn't miss anything. But I did see Fanny, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, that in the Simpsons movie, apparently Homer goes on a dream journey. And she said it reminds her of that, and that the woman who coached Homer thought it was Native American too. I like that idea of a dream journey. That's so cool. So basically whatever happens in their dream, right, is like the transition. It's the thing that gives them control. But that's what we really need to know is how would it give them control over shifting? Like, does it bind something? Does it do something in their brain? I don't know. Or do we keep it really ooh la la magical and we don't really define it?
I think for now, like it really, because I think if it's fixing things the wrong way, right? Because that's what Thera needs to be doing. Like, I don't know that she should be able to accomplish doing the ritual, you know, like, or if she does, like it can't fix things, you know?
Yeah. So maybe they do have to actually physically do something. It can't just be, I'm going to fall asleep in a scary place, you know, with fog all around or something and wake up with more control. It's got to be they actually take an action of some kind within the dream, maybe.
Yeah.
I like that. So then I thought somebody said in the dream, oh, we already read this, where they have to kill the person they love and admire the most.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if they killed somebody that would turn on control somehow?
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Yeah, the why is tricky.
Right.
But we could, if we like the sacred space and we like that they're fighting over it, we could say that part is more for sure. And we could like keep going with our questions because we have some more questions for the Act 2 world.
Yeah, and maybe just like we have this in our brain now, and then we sort of move on a little bit, and then we can always come back to it. Before we do that, there's a few questions. We have our wonderful moderator, Savannah, who is collecting some of the stuff here in a doc. So I'm just like gonna look here real fast. Anna says, I like the sacred space. Maybe you want to add 2 or 3 gods, shapeshifter gods, maybe the animals, and maybe with a sacrifice there of an animal or a person. Anne says, I like traveling to a place too. And then if they survive the journey, they either drink something or someone. Someone. Spirit or God could just, or someone, they're not drinking something. Someone, a spirit or God could bestow the permanent power upon them. Lucy's also talking about like having like a priest or something similar, the guard or manager, someone who manages a sacred space.
Ooh, cool.
Gabriella says if they have to complete a mental or spiritual physical course of some kind. Yeah, Fanny's asking about weapons. So we're still trying to figure that out. Allison says, are they identical? Because then it would make sense that she doesn't want to kill herself. Oh my gosh, maybe she sees herself, but she thinks it's herself, but it's actually Lore.
Oh my gosh.
She wakes up and sees Lore and is like, wait, I woke up. Like, why am I still seeing myself?
Oh my gosh, that's creepy. I like it.
That would be interesting. Anna says, so let's put a pin in that for a second. Anna says, could give it a psychological twist. Theora saw herself, but she slowly mentions it during the story. Okay. Katie says, I still say they should eat the heart of an animal and take their spirit. And that's how that allows them to shift, channeling their spirit animal. That's if they can choose it. That's the other thing with like.
That does give it a why though. It really does. Yeah.
Right. No, that would.
Bring something in with them. I don't know about a heart, but anyway.
Yeah.
Keep going.
No, that's all good. Fanny says, in a lot of shifter stories, their animal is caged in a mind cage of some sorts. And during their first full moon, the animal is set free.
Okay.
And then she says,
sorry, just to play that out, are you saying like maybe they'd have to stay there more than one night? Like what if they had to stay in this sacred place for a long time until something changes, kind of like full moon or whatever else?
Right. And maybe that would give, at least for a time, that would give like Laura and Theora like where they have to be in the same space alone.
Oh yeah.
We also had this idea, you guys, that if the uncle is sending someone to kill Lore, it could be like the boy crush that we talked about in the opening image for Lore, that maybe he's somehow in cahoots with the uncle. Or I think someone said, sorry, I missed who said it, but someone said like, what if the uncle has a son who he wants to become the ruler?
Ooh, I like that.
We could make boy crush
the son,
but then they would need to like not be related somehow.
Yeah, that's awkward. So maybe not an uncle then.
But the uncle could be on the mom's side, and technically she's not blood related to the mom. I don't know.
True. Then he still shouldn't be crushing because he wouldn't know that.
That's true.
He might know.
So we could the uncle then like a non-family member.
Yeah.
And he could be more of like a
advisor role.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I like that because there's a lot of advisors. Like I'm thinking also like Jafar and Aladdin. But if the advisor is usually trying to be power hungry for themselves, but if he's doing it for someone else, for his son, that makes it a little different.
Yeah, it has like a twist there because he has like a heart for somebody else besides himself.
Right, he's redeemable or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Fanny says, I would love that nobody is really allowed or able to tell or coach their kid to complete the transition because it's so unique.
I like that too. Yeah, where it's like you really have to do it on your own. Nobody can tell you how, which if Thera was so stuck up or so full of herself and pretending to be awesome that she couldn't reveal, she didn't know what to do,
Right.
it could play a role for sure.
Yeah.
Someone else said Thera could be unable, Gabriella said this, to finish because she's weak, because she can't kill, which could be another reason she's insecure, because her tribe is supposed to be strong. So if there was killing, like in a dream, do you feel like that would be if they knew it was a dream, or do they not know it's a dream once they're in it, maybe? So that's why it was so hard for her, because she really doesn't want to kill. She goes in like, no big deal, it's going to be a dream. But then when she's in it, it feels so real, she just can't.
Right. It sort of reminds me of Divergent, you know, when they're like they have the serum that makes them like face their darkest fear.
Yep.
And then, they have to like be able to overcome it.
Mm-hmm. And it's like super serious to them, even though it's not real.
Right.
Huh. I wonder, I liked that. Who was it that said that they should drink something once they're there? Because I like that. So it brings in that potion vibe, but it's something you can only get in a sacred place. So it could almost be like it's getting them drunk in a sense. You know, it's sort of like, and I swear, I feel like this is Native American, where they would smoke a pipe and pass it around. And so and I don't know what drug it was, if it was a drug, but this could basically be a magical drug version, that it does actually give them hallucinations. So they truly feel like it's real going in.
Right. I feel like they would need someone to administer it then, you know.
Really? Yeah.
How do they find it? Or it's something you have to get like the herbs or something and do some kind of combination of stuff, you know.
Yep. Would it be cooler if they did that for themselves and there was like a whole process they had to go through and they had all the steps listed out and it took them forever? Or would it be cool to have a sort of peacekeepers society there that might actually be griffins because they're not choosing sides? Or is that taking away from our fun ending?
That's the thing, guys. Yeah, for anybody who wasn't here last week, like part of what we're trying to do with the lions and eagles is like at some point these two girls realize that they have blood from both tribes and both ruling families, and so they are able to shift into a griffin. And we're sort of potentially using this idea of like that this is like the origin story of the griffin kind of deal. And so I don't know. It's just like a cool idea. We don't necessarily have like a good like thematic reason to put it in there. But that's sort of what we were like, this would be so cool if we did this. But we don't know, if we want to reveal that early enough or we want that to be like a big reveal later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Amber said the Divergent thing. Were you reading her comment earlier, or were you both thinking the same thing?
No, I didn't even see it.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. She's like, could be a Divergent kind of thing. Serum. Yeah. So it could be lifelike, basically, is what you guys are liking.
Right.
Let's see, Fanny says maybe the dream could be only a transportation device where they get summoned by someone like a god or the sacred place itself, and they're not even present in, that bed or wherever they are there anymore, but they like get transported to the sacred place almost.
The only thing is we need Lore to be there too.
Yeah, we need Lore to be able to like get there and attack her.
Right.
But I do like the idea of like you have to go to this place, and then when you fall asleep, are you really still in the same place, or could it be? So I read this book once called The Thief. I don't know where it is back there, but in The Thief, one of the characters falls asleep in a room, and when they wake up in their dream, all of a sudden the statues in the room, which were gods, are now alive and they're moving and interacting with this character, and it's creepy and cool. So like if they went to a sacred place, and I kind of changed that story a little bit because of my idea, but like if they went to a place where there were statues and when they fall asleep, they could like talk to the statues or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
An idea.
Well, and those are the ones that help guide them through it or something.
Yeah. They're not taking sides, because otherwise it's like, why aren't they on a side?
Right. Well, and so Lucy had an interesting point too. She said lots of books have deep internal psychological journeys that are presented as real life. So there could be the fear of dream death equals real death too. So dream cuts equal real cuts. So they really do need to survive.
Oh my God.
So like whoever they're attacking isn't real, but that like attack back is real. Like it affects them.
Like they have
I think that this would
right?
be right. And I think that this would be really cool because like again, like we're shooting for the theme of overcoming your fear and finding courage. So again, it does sound a little like divergent-ish, but like
Mhm.
that could be the origin of like figuring out what they fear most, you know?
Yeah. Yep. So
Yeah.
this Act Two world also we have to remember the question where so yeah, maybe we could put it on hold and we could kind of like brainstorm the Act Two world for Thera and for Lore separately, because that could actually change what we want to do with this rite of passage. We might kind of like once we know a little bit more, we might have more clarity.
Mhm.
You want to keep going into those questions really quick?
Sure.
Okay, so the Act Two world for Thera, we had a couple options and a couple ideas to throw out there that could work with the options. The first one is, does she maybe as she goes into her new Act Two world now she does have control over shifting? Does she complete the ritual? Or option two, can she somehow not complete the ritual again because of the fight and the run-in with Lore? So we have two very different trails we could take there. And in this Act Two world for Thera, maybe she now knows she has a sister, maybe, and maybe she now could know that she has these griffin abilities, that she can also do wings and not just lion shifting type stuff. So what do you guys think about those options? Do you like more the idea that she gets control and that's her new world? And is it different enough from the Act One world? Or do you like that she's not able to complete the ritual again and maybe she's actually like starting to lose shifting ability?
Mm-hmm.
So let us know if you like either of those because we're not really sure. And again, like once you know the Act Two world, it can almost help you form the Act One world or vice versa because you want them to be so different.
Right. So while that's coming in,
Yeah.
just
Do you want to
Claire,
talk about Lore?
say it again.
Do you want to talk about Lore's Act Two questions, or no? You got
No, yeah, let's focus on one. I think that's cool.
okay.
But Clary was saying, is the catalyst them meeting? And if you missed it before, if you're tuning in just now, we're having Laura's father still alive at the beginning of the book,
Mm-hmm.
but that he is killed, and they think it was this other tribe that killed him, but in actuality, it's like the uncle, the evil uncle that we're maybe throwing in there, or like an
Mm-hmm.
advisor, or someone who wants to gain control. And so that's like the catalyst for Lore. But the B story and like the break into two is like Lore going to like seek revenge on Thera.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we have this place where like it becomes their meeting is actually the B story.
Yeah.
So, and Thera is like has this thing where like someone's told her if she doesn't go complete the ritual, she'll lose her shifting ability. So that's her catalyst. Now she's going to complete the ritual, and that's the same place that Laura's going to attack her. Sorry, just wanted to give that little.
No, I like it. I like it.
Okay. All right. So Amber's saying, what if Laura interrupts her during the ritual? So she could start to do it, and then it
Mm-hmm.
gets cut off.
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
And then Anne said if they fall asleep there, like if that's part of the ritual, then when Laura comes upon Thera while she's sleeping, she could wake up right before Laura attacks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's some cool comparisons to like the Matrix and King Arthur. And Russell is saying that hallucinogens are used for shaman ceremonies in South America, which is cool.
Yep, there you go.
So yeah, kind of channeling that for sure. Allison says maybe you can insert yourself into another person's ritual, and that's how Laura is able to get into her sister's head. And then she says maybe Thera doesn't know that Laura is real because of how similar they look. Which again, that's really coming down to like, how do they meet? Do they meet?
Right.
God. You could go so many directions. Again, we're definitely at a crossroads of direction.
Yeah.
We could play it out really quick, like where you chase both trails and you just kind of think and listen to it and hear which one calls to you.
Mhm.
Like, so if we go with option one and she gets control because she completed the ritual, then runs into lore, then do they have an all-out fight where they're more equal? And when Thea goes back to her own world, has she already solved all her problems? I feel like it's almost too easy if she gets control
Right.
off the top of my head. And then option two, if she doesn't complete it, is there like a clock running out for her now? And she's going to keep trying and keep coming back. And how would she do that? And is that too complicated?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
because the thought too, guys, was like, we were thinking, like, if she goes to do the ritual,
Mhm.
but then Laura attacks, then maybe, yeah, there's like a scuffle or something. But then the uncle character at this point is still trying to like get rid of Laura. So there's somebody else that comes in,
Mhm.
and then for some reason, maybe Laura does attack Thera, or maybe she doesn't. Maybe Laura gets attacked and then Thera sees it, and like for some reason she helps her. There's like, but we were having like maybe this element of like somebody else like coming in, and then like them having to like sort of
Yeah.
leave what they thought they came here to do and actually like
Yeah.
have a moment of like being aligned for a moment.
Well, we have 7 votes so far for her not completing it. And
Right.
Clary makes a good point. She's voting that her failing twice might feel repetitive, but would it be repetitive if it was because of someone else this time? Like she actually did go through, maybe she crossed a line she didn't cross before. Like maybe last time she came up to the sacred place and maybe it's scary. I don't know. I'm just picturing like a really terrifying like valley with like fog and creepy sounds and I don't know. And so she just didn't even go in. And then this time maybe she goes in, but lore is the reason she doesn't complete it. Um,
Right.
because then you get the like EC Vittorial is saying that I think there should get control near the end because then you have somewhere you're going toward.
Right. 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 Right.
And then Lucy
I
said she likes that idea of a countdown, where like, and you're saying that she could do it in order to save the day. I think you mean like she could finally suck it up and complete the ritual, whatever it is, in order to save the day, which is so cool. And maybe to save someone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be
Yeah. I
fun.
think I'm thinking we should probably go that direction. I'm just gonna say one other thing
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
probably should. I don't know if it will work,
Okay.
but like I think I still like this other one.
Okay.
But she could complete the ritual trying to fix it the wrong way, and maybe it doesn't work. Like maybe it's not
Ooh,
real. That's
yeah.
the only other thought of like,
Like if she
because
did
if the
it wrong.
instructor, say it again.
Like if she did it wrong, you mean?
Right.
Ooh.
Or like, or she did it right, but like it's not an
Not
actual,
working.
like it's not real. Like maybe the instructor was just telling her that to get her there
Sure,
or
yeah.
something.
Or if you complete the ritual like you're saying, she does all the steps, right? And maybe you get something. And again, just using this as a placeholder because I don't know what it would be, but like a drink or like there's some little like spell light that's floating out to meet you, and then someone else takes it. you know?
Yeah.
And so she did everything right, but she still doesn't get her control or whatever it is that gives you the control.
Right.
I like that. Yeah, so basically, I think we're on the same page that we're blocking her. We're being like,
Yes.
sorry, honey, you don't get what you really, really want.
Yeah. And maybe that could be, we could have her get disrupted by lore here, and then maybe at the midpoint
Mhm.
is where she actually does it, and it doesn't do what she thinks it's supposed to do.
Sure.
Like we
Yeah.
could push that out farther if
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So it's kind of becoming more of like a central plot point versus just the one beat, which is cool. I like that.
right.
Especially considering I remember way back when we were first, maybe the first live, we were talking about how the two tribes might be warring over something specific. So if they were warring over this sacred place and like really all out about it, that could explain a lot, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we just need to come up with the reason of like why they want it.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, let's also put a pin in that and let's go on to the last one, lore. And then once we have all these like questions kind of talked through, we can maybe nail things down.
Maybe.
Maybe. Wait, before I do, I'm so sorry. I'm missing comments. Amber says that the bad advisor dude sends a henchman after Laura to ensure she doesn't come back. Yes, that's what we were totally talking about. The boy crush, as we call him. And then says that she steps into Thera's dream sequence to attack her. And then the henchman uses that moment to strike Lore. So somehow the girls could be stuck together, like in the dream. Is what you're thinking? Oh my gosh, that's crazy cool. So literally it's an actual Act 2 world that's not their world at all.
Whoa.
So cool. It's blowing my mind.
Then we have to figure out, do we want them in this dream world for the majority of the book? Because that's Act 2 world, right?
Right.
So I don't even know what that world would look like. I feel like we set up this whole other world. I'm excited to like stay in it.
I know, me too. Yeah.
Even if like situations change, but that's a really interesting idea that we could definitely dig into.
And since we've set up a world we love, what if, okay, totally just throwing this out there. You can shoot it down, you guys. Don't worry. But what if it was like a place where either it's like an out of body experience, but it's still the world? So kind of flipping what I said earlier, where they're talking to creatures that used to be stone, but what if it's like kind of ghost-like, where they can't talk to people who are actually real? So if they are mid-ceremony and it gets interrupted somehow, their bodies just keep staying there, and they can wander out of the sacred place and back home, but nobody can see them, or like, I don't know. I'm really spitballing in a weird direction here.
No, that's
maybe pin though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, this is what we're doing. Like, we have to figure out like this Act 2 world. How is it different? Yeah, and it could be like this physical, like different place, or like different being, like they're basically spirits. Or it's like they have to return. Go ahead.
I just had my brain just freaked out. What if they, in this ceremony, they become their animal shape, but it's like fully for the first time or something? Because, if you were a 13-year-old, you've never done it before. So that's like the transition. And then they get stuck in that until they complete something. So they're stuck in animal form or something like that. I don't know.
Right. That is an option.
Super random.
No. That's like, I feel like that's like a cool idea. Again, it's like, I think Bethany and I are just both in this place of like, do we want to write that? Like, I don't know if write them being like, I like the shifter stuff. But I'm like, I know what you're talking about.
All the royalty and all the family dynamics that we came up with that we were kind of taking away from. So, okay, but so let's
go in there though.
What's that?
There could be something like related, something in there. Yeah, yes, it's like dark. I realized I didn't put my lights on. Hold on.
Oh, that's okay. Fanny's saying that's like Brother Bear, but that's cool. So like their bodies, Amber's saying they're in a safe space somehow, like a space within a space. So yeah, something that keeps their bodies safe would be cool. But I also do like that vibe that Brittany brought up earlier, and maybe one of you guys did too, where they could get hurt. Like there's some element of actually fear that they have to face, because that's our ultimate goal.
Right.
Let's do Lore really quick, and we'll give you guys the questions we're kind of mulling over for her to see if you have any thoughts, because sometimes one character will influence another. So maybe Lore's answers will help us know what Thera's answers are. Okay. I'll let you do Lore's questions.
Okay. So what is the Act 2 world like for Lore? Most likely, she is now the leader, because her dad just died. So she's like next in line. So we're sort of seeing like, it could be that she's like, okay, now I have to be like a leader. Possibly that her uncle person is undermining her. Is anyone else in the tribe undermining her? We don't know. Does she want to lead? Does she know how to lead? So those are sort of the questions that she would be asking herself in this Act 2 world. But that again is if she returns somehow.
Yep. Because if she didn't return, that would be a whole new set of like, what's her world look like?
Right.
Man, I hadn't even considered the fact that they might not return until tonight. So it's kind of blowing my mind.
Not too many options.
Oh yeah.
Do any of you feel like this, like in your story? Like it's not just us, right? Like you just have too many options and you're just like, where do I go with this?
Yes, yes. Let us know if like what your method is. Brittany was teaching me about Rachel Stevens, right? Rachel Stevens, who
Mhm.
says to brainstorm 5 and never go with your first answer. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it's like when you brainstorm, usually the first thing that you come up with is like the most cliche or the most used. You keep brainstorming like a list. I think she does like 5 to 10.
Hmm.
And you keep going until you find something that you love.
And I have a confession. I almost always, in writing, pick the first thing that comes to me. And then I guess I sort of like pants it. And then when it comes to editing, I'm like, that's crap. Let's try this option. And I'll go with like the second idea. And then my betas will come around and they'll be like, no, 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 no. Keep working. And I'll go with like the third or fourth then. So like, yeah, I still get to the third or fourth idea, which is less cheesy usually, but I never pick it first.
Mhm.
So
Right.
this time around we're being smarter and we're like questioning everything.
I'm gonna try.
Man, I'm
Um,
glad that you guys deal with this too. There's so many of you who, okay, that makes me feel better.
Makes us feel much better. Thank you for going through this crazy journey with us, you guys. Um,
Like start backwards and start at the end. Me too. Me too. That's why this is so hard.
that's why this is yeah. Um, okay.
Do we want to go through
We're
a
at
couple more of the notes? Uh,
yeah.
that,
Okay.
yeah,
Go
Savannah's
ahead.
leaving for us.
Um, Fanny says maybe she's too young to rule, and the uncle is her guide until she's of
Ooh.
age.
Ooh.
Um, Anne says if Laura completed the ritual, then maybe she's flying to the land tribe, but a storm comes up and blows her off course and forces her to land at the ritual site. Okay, so maybe she wasn't going straight for Thera. She didn't know about that she was going to be there, but somehow she ends up there.
Right.
Allison says, I think maybe having her uncle or the advisor being guidance as she learns to rule that way, he has more control over the tribe. He has his nose in all of the things.
He just knows all the things. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so, just for the sake of time, because I think these will interact, when they meet, we talked about them maybe becoming each other's B story. So,
Yes.
that will also, because I'm realizing that it's all interconnected, it's all answering, each beat answers other beats' questions. So, do we want them to be each other's B story, which means that number one, they have to represent the Act Two world in some way. So Lore would literally be reflecting Thera's Act Two world in some way, and vice versa. And number two, they have to help guide the hero towards their life lesson, like a mirror. So if we want this, and we don't have to, but if we want the characters to be each other's B story, then we need to make sure that they're doing those two things, which is going to help us actually make our decisions. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because some of our ideas would lead to this and others wouldn't really, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and I think that the few ways that they can do that is that they can embody the theme.
mhm.
So whatever the character needs to learn, they already like know it or are expressing it in some way. They can bring out the theme in the hero by their nature and who they are, or they can suffer from the same flaws in a more exaggerated way, which sort
Ooh,
of like
I think we know
that
it.
that like brings it out. So like I could see them both sort of like suffering from some kind of fear. And so like
Mhm,
each of them, because they have a slightly different fear, they
mhm.
could be like sort of speaking in like they could be a mirror in the sense of both struggling with fear, but they could also be like sort of telling the other person like you need to not be like that,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
or helping them along in some way.
I really like that because you know how people say that you can see other people's flaws, but you can never see your own, is the saying, I think. And so if they literally have the same flaw, but they can only see it in the other one, like if they can kind of call it out somehow, man, I
Yeah.
would love that. It would just, when you read stuff like that as a reader, those scenes always just make my skin itch, like, oh, why can't they see it? You know?
Right.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
really fun. So then trying the whole working our way backwards thing. if you want.
Mhm.
We could ask, like, how is lore reflecting an Act 2 world to Thera, and vice versa? How is Thera reflecting an Act 2 world to lore? So maybe we could play with how their cultures are different. So the cunning side, and Thera's like, you manipulated me or in some way, and you just totally lied when you said you'd do something, in like total shock. And then lore could be like held to a higher standard. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that, yeah, if we're having them both experience the other tribe in some way, and that's part of like the Act 2 world,
Mm-hmm.
um, that they could definitely do that. The other thing, I think we played around too with like them, like the Act 2 world just being like in essence that they realize that they're connected to the other tribe,
Mm-hmm.
in some way,
Yeah.
because they have that connection, whether they look exactly alike or their shape-shifting creatures look exactly alike, or they have some kind of birthmark, or they get connected in some way in the dream world. Like they realize, like, yeah, there's some kind of connection there, and then they have to
So
deal with
kind of following it through, if they do look alike, then they wouldn't really be able to bring the other one back to experience their home. So you can't have as much Act 2 world, at least not in the 2 worlds that we've created. We could create a brand new Act 2 world, like in the dreams, but to bring them back home and experience the other side, which it would be very Act 2, that would be trickier if they're identical. But if they're in this sacred place and they say they have to switch into their animal form, maybe they're identical then. I know somebody brought that up last week, where they're like fraternal in human form, but they become identical in their animal form, or just some feature is like totally unique, and that would like give them a hint.
right,
Yeah.
right. And then
Or
Act 2 would be more of them like figuring it out. Oh, sorry.
no, you're good, you're good. uh Sorry, I just keep going with the word or. It's like or. um
Oh,
it's like, or it could be really fun to not let them know right away, because I do love the idea of a reveal not happening for a long time. So like maybe the reader knows, or maybe the reader doesn't even know, and then you're just waiting for them to like. Then we'd have to give them some other reason to work together, obviously, um, or not work together but be stuck with each other. So there's
right,
definitely the option of them not knowing that they're sisters.
right.
That
Maybe they.
yeah.
Sorry.
You go. You go.
Maybe they like get connected psychically or something. Like
Ooh,
maybe like
yeah.
they're physically they can be apart, but now they're sort of like in each other's heads somehow, or they can like,
Oh, yeah.
like they can. And then I don't know, maybe I'm just adding something totally more complicated, but like then they could experience the other tribe, or they can experience the other person's,
Mhm.
or maybe they switch bodies.
That'd be crazy. Oh my gosh.
People are like, I've seen some like of the Parent Trap
Yeah,
thing,
yeah. Yep.
like other people have brought that up in past shows. Um, but like it could be like they don't have to be identical if they switch like bodies, if their spirits
Mhm.
like switch.
And Allison said something really similar to that. Oh, I guess it's not quite, my bad. But she's saying the Parent Trap thing as well. But if they are identical, then you could send them back home to the opposite tribe, which you would have to know why they would want to do that. Because
Right.
if they were brought up with a bunch of hatred for the other side, I don't know if they would want to.
Yeah.
Although
Unless Laura realizes who her real family is, and then she wants to go see her, but then Thera would need
ooh,
a motivation to go to the other one. I don't know what her
yeah,
motivation.
Kira would need a good reason. Maybe she hates her parents. I don't know. Just wants out. Want something about the less rules could call to her, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, someone said, what if, I think, is Jem, are you saying that maybe what if like they switch like abilities? So like all of a sudden Thera can shift
Oh my
like
gosh.
as well as Lore can, and then
Yeah.
Lore can't shift at all. So Lore can no longer hide,
Hoo, hoo, hoo. Oh my gosh.
and Thera I don't know what her thing would be at
Yeah.
that point. Like, why?
Cool
Like,
idea.
maybe things get better for Thera and things get worse for Lore.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then midpoint they switch.
Yeah. Oh man. Gabriella said it'd be cool for them to be identical in shifter form. And Amber's the one who said it last time about the fraternal and human form and identical in shifter form. Thank you, Amber. And yeah, so that's our note for the B story section. Like, when they meet, are they identical? Are they fraternal? And if they're fraternal, do they have identical stuff as shifters?
Right.
So that really is the ultimate question for the B story part, because that will influence everything.
Right. Samantha's also adding in, what if the special world is discovering how this revenge started? Is it a curse, or how the tribes can come together to be griffins so that way they have the journey attached to the shard of glass?
Ooh, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, so
Like,
let me just break that down. So if the world, the Act 2 world is like them realizing that they're related and then being like, wait, why are our tribes, at war? Or like always taking revenge on each other? Where did this start? Is it a curse? Or how the tribes, or maybe they're trying to figure out how the tribes can come together.
Yeah, I feel like them figuring out they're related or not will make two very different stories. Like, if they figure out they're related, there's going to be a lot more niceness to each other, probably. There's going to be a lot more let's work together Parent Trap vibes, which doesn't totally fit the Viking-esque thing that we've got going on with all the killing and like murder sprees. And but I like it though. It's really cool. And then the other option is if we don't let them know they're related, like what kind of world would that be and why would they work together? So they make two very different stories. Sorry.
Oh,
hey, hi babe. Take her away. Sorry. That gave me a little heart attack. Did you guys hear that? Oh, sorry. Panic moment. But yeah, I mean, like, which one do we want to go for? Like, what excites you guys more? Do you like the Parent Trap vibe, a little lighter hearted, getting to know each other, and each other's culture that way, or do you like the vibe of a lot more anger, I guess, more Romeo and Juliet? Yeah, like Fanny is saying, much more hatred, much more blame, which would definitely leave a lot more lead up to that big ultimate conflict at the end.
Right.
In first version, what would be the conflict at the end? Like the parents being against it, possibly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, play that out, guys. Which one? So I'm hearing, Parent Trap or Romeo and Juliet, but sisters. So like, just use those terms. Which one, like, are you thinking, not even which one would you like better, but which one do you think fits like our world and like our story and our characters better?
Yeah, definitely.
What we want to serve, right?
Yeah.
We'll also read a couple. Nicole says maybe they're forced to work together in the dream world, realize they need to end the revenge cycle. To do so, they plan to switch places in the real world and plan to bring the tribes together.
Ooh, okay. That would be like their conflict in the, right. They would like have conflict all throughout the dream world, because then if they know that they're related in the dream world, but they can't get out, there's still the conflict of we can't get out.
Right.
So, I see what you mean, Nicole.
Yeah.
Jacqueline says switching bodies, Freaky Friday style. That's the movie.
Friday. Yes.
It's the same actress, I think. So that's why I always mix it up. And then Jem says she likes the idea of them finding out why the cycle of revenge is a thing. Yeah, so like ultimately in the end, finding out the history, which means we have to figure that out. Jasmine, you want to read a couple more?
Yeah, Amber says she likes if they switch abilities, that would like up the ante, and that would be like the Act 2 world too. They could go back to their original tribes, but then they have to deal with having the different ability.
I love that. That's so cool.
What one sees her identical twin and follows her to her world. Okay, so we could go to one world where one character is like experiencing a total new world, and then the other character is experiencing their same world with their
Yeah.
now sister.
Yep.
Allison, but it could be a revenge plot for Thera, and Lord. Laura doesn't know her sister wants revenge on her family, and she just wants to meet her family on the other tribe's side, but things get sticky. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we've got the Jem says, "What if the uncle comes to see the handiwork, like wants to see them dead, or his lore dead, and then he finds Thera and thinks, that it's lore, and there's that whole confused, yeah."
right.
Um,
I think a lot of people are saying Romeo and Juliet, but they still like the idea of like switching abilities.
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the switching abilities. That's growing on me, actually, because there's so much you could play with. You're getting the Parent Trap vibe without actually trying to bring in an identical twin who knows absolutely nothing about the culture and all that confusion.
Right.
But
you still have to live inside of like a different person's ability. And I sort of, I like the idea that Thera could be like, this is awesome. I can choose whatever I want, so hers is like an upward.
Very upward.
And then it could go down, but then Lore could be like, oh my gosh, this is my worst nightmare. Like everything, but then it could like, or no, that's down. And then and then up, and maybe like that's like the conflict in the beginning, but then later they end up like realizing they need to find like this symbiosis. And then they realize that they're griffins. I don't know.
I love that. Okay, so okay, I'm having an idea, but I don't know if it's good until I say it.
Okay.
But, if the thing that gives them control is like a physical thing, like I don't know if you guys have ever read The Host, but they have the aliens being like a physical, they grab on somehow in the head, and it's like a very like light, mysterious, and it like grabs on and latches on and kind of takes control. So I'm kind of picturing that this Rite of Passage is something like that takes control. And so it would be really cool if for this switching of abilities thing, somehow like Thera doesn't get her own thing to take control, so she just like somehow steals Lore's. So that's how she gets her control. I don't know if you guys are tracking with me at all. But then, long story short, you could ultimately have the revelation at the end that this thing that's like taking control, and it's sort of other, and it's like an actual physical thing that's clamping down on their abilities. They shouldn't have it at all because they're meant to have both sides. So ultimately, maybe it would be proving that both sides have been denying part of themselves, if that makes sense. If they're all from the same family.
Yeah, and so maybe when they were twins too, like only one of them got it.
Ooh.
And so it was supposed to be like if they're one person, like obviously they would have it, but because twins, only one of them got it.
Oh my gosh.
And so if Thera takes it during this like scuffle, then something, and then I got distracted because I'm like, shoot, I think we're creating another catalyst. But
I know, right? I know. Opening up.
But then like it could be that they have to figure out, or they figure out that they have the ability to like switch into both.
I really, really, really love the idea of their not their catalyst, but their Act 2 world is going into it with suddenly abilities and suddenly no abilities. I love that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of you guys are loving that. And then also the Romeo and Juliet vibe, which I forgot what that means, but we're getting a lot of votes for Romeo and Juliet because they're saying it fits the Viking vibe better. Remind me, Brittany, which one is the Romeo and Juliet vibe?
I think it just has this essence of there's like the story will be less like Parent Trappy and like
less together,
funny. And even though we could have some little moments like that, it would be more of like them at odds, or the tribes at least still at odds, and seeing a lot of that and like having that happen.
I love that as much as possible.
Right. Well, in Romeo and Juliet too, like they're the ones who are together, but their tribes are like trying to separate them. So I don't know if you guys are just like Romeo and Juliet because you want like all like them to be like against each other, or do you want Romeo and Juliet because you want them to like start working together, but their tribes are like still separate.
Good point. And that could be like a midpoint thing. Like maybe they're at odds all the way up to the midpoint, and then whatever might happen, which again, we're working way too far ahead, but maybe that makes them get along, but their cultures, their tribes still don't get along at all. So then they could like work together to reveal something. I don't know. Again, I'm getting way too far ahead.
No, it's all good.
It's all connected.
You have to, yeah, that's the thing. We have to think about, like, nobody actually plots, I think, just sitting down and being like, I'm just going to do these 2 beats. But I think the big reason we wanted to do this series like this is so that you guys could see and like isolate every single beat as we go through it, and like really like get a handle on like what it's supposed to be. Hopefully we're doing it right. I don't know if Brody's actually watching these and gonna comment on it when she comes with us, but she's gonna be like, yeah, that part you didn't really get right.
That'd be nice, actually. I'd like to know if I'm screwing it up really bad. Penny, to the carpet. Nope. Carpet's dying over here. Sorry, guys.
Some people are saying that if you bring a third party to deepen the story and bring in extra twists for why things happened.
How are we doing on time, by the way?
Oh gosh, we have to start wrapping up.
Okay. Is it our 10-minute mark or 8-minute? It looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, go ahead.
You were starting it. Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say what Brittany and I will do this week is we will mull over the options you guys have come up with. We'll read through all the comments, and I'm thinking we got a billion amazing ideas. So we'll come back next week on Brittany's channel, and we'll have nailed down the B story and how they react. We're going to have to nail down if they're identical or fraternal and all that jazz, and we're going to nail down what their Act 2 world looks like, starting with this Rite of Passage and what the heck that is. And we have some of it nailed down, I think, from this live. You guys have helped us figure out a lot, but we're going to nail it down a lot more next week.
But don't go away, because we want some suggestions.
Yeah.
Some names of things. Do we still want to do that?
Yes, I do. I'd love to. Okay, so we've got a couple. We've got the boy crush, the uncle, possibly the parents to name, possibly the instructor, and possibly naming the sacred place, and maybe also the ceremony. Did you want to share the tribe name ideas too?
Oh yeah. So
we can start with those.
Yeah. So we might still end up calling it like the Earth Tribe and like the Sky Tribe, just so like everybody, like it's just easier to remember. But we did also find these 2 words. What
they're Nordic, I think.
Nordic. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have Euro or however you pronounce it, with a Joro for the land tribe or the Earth Tribe, because it means land. And then Himin means sky. Himinn. And that would be like obviously the Sky Tribe. So
put those in the comments too.
Yeah, those are sort of names we were looking at, but I think what we might do is continue to just call it the Earth and the Sky Tribe for now, just because we have too many things to like remember, you guys. And for you guys, as we're talking about, it's probably easier. So, but yeah, do you want to go one by one with the different characters and places and just have them put them in? Okay.
Should we go? Okay. Would it be more fun to do characters, or would it be fun to nail down the Rite of Passage crap first?
Let's do the characters. I think that'd be easier.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's do it. Anybody have good ideas for the uncle? Something evil sounding, but not too tropey.
Right.
Or pretty tropey. I'm just kidding.
If you want to stay in like the Nordic kind of vibe, like you could definitely do that. Don't have to, but
yeah, we could also like expand, like we could kind of merge and mix cultures, which is really fun. I love doing that. We could add in like similar cultures like Swedish and Norwegian and maybe some German names and that kind of fun stuff. Oh my gosh. We've got Jafaf. I Jafar. I knew it. Jafar. And then Vidir. I actually really like the spelling, but I don't know how to say that, Anna. Vidir?
I sort of like that though.
I like that because it feels very like those different it's crap trash is your joke. Oh my gosh. We have Gar, Fusero, Turim, and Strack. I like the one syllable name Strack. It's like
Yeah.
very punch in the face feeling.
That actually, I sort of like that too. But we'll make decisions.
Yes. Yes, we're not deciding anything. We're just kind of having fun with this. We got Vladik.
Vladik.
It makes me think of Vladimir. And that's Russian, right? Putin and Vladimir.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Anna says, me neither. Oh, for pronouncing it, just know that it's Viking. Yes, love it. Geraldine, feels like you're driving out demons here. Oh my gosh, I love it.
So let's, because we only have a couple minutes, let's move on to our boy crush. So this is Laura's boy crush. Put like BC and then a colon and then put his name just so we don't get confused. So BC colon, then the name for the boy crush. So potentially, so it would be, yeah, definitely like this guy who sort of admires and like has a crush, or at least is pretending maybe to have a crush on Laura, because possibly he could be the uncle or the advisor's like son, so he could have some dark stuff going on.
Brittany,
So
look who picked the name that we were joking about.
Oh, really? Is it in here?
Yeah.
EC, you have, yeah, that was a name that we were throwing around earlier, actually. So
Bjorn. We liked Bjorn because, again, we're just like, we were calling a boy crush, starts with a B, and then we're like, what's a B name? Oh, okay. So Amber and Fanny are talking about Strack, still the German name. And then Anna is Dward. And is that for the boy crush? I actually like Dealey. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Dealey. Ooh, I like the pronunciation.
Me too.
I don't pronounce it like that, but I like the pronunciation.
Ooh, fun. Jem says like that the Griffin shows up for Laura and Thea pushes her out of the way to take it for herself. But they're going to be the Griffins at the end.
That's sort of what we're
into another Griffin.
Right.
Or the Dream Griffin, possibly. Oh, Vanna. That is a cool name. Any name that ends with A feels like a woman's name to me, even though I know that's just more of the romantic languages, and that actually the Nordic languages often have men with names that end in A.
Right.
Ivor. Oh my gosh, that's totally in the show that most of my husband is watching, the Viking show.
Yep.
Which is so cool. It sounds like when they say it, they say Iva. So it sounds like there's no R at the end.
Oh, okay.
Damon. Ooh, that's cool. Arrow for the villain. Niffle. How would you say that, Brittany? I'm going to let you read the rest.
Oh, I don't know. Niflheimen. I can't. I just think it's terrible. I can't do it. So we have a couple more.
Yeah, we do.
And maybe we don't need names for the parents quite yet, because we'll probably still call them like
just King
and Queen, and like just to differentiate them. But how about the instructor? We have an instructor person for Thera. So what does she call? Actually, what because we don't know that we want to call him an instructor. Is there like a different term that we want to use that would be like more like world buildy-ish?
To give you guys an example, the Vikings call women warriors shield maidens, which is so cool. And so would there be a cool term like shield bearer, but cooler for like somebody who's kind of in charge of teaching the kids? And
so, and then if you have anything for the ceremony or the sacred place, the other ones.
Yeah, any ideas for like we could name it like by a noun, or it could be a verb, or it could be, or we could literally be called the sacred place. Do we want to get too crazy here? Or do we want to keep it simple?
That's the thing when we're like referencing stuff as we plot, it might be hard. Like it was really good, I think, to nail down the main characters' names. But, you know, even if we end up calling these things the sacred place for the rest of, you know, the series here, when we actually write it, we do need names for it. So if you have names, definitely submit.
Definitely.
Shepherd.
What's that?
Samantha said shield shepherd.
Ooh, cool. Yeah, like even I was gonna say for the sacred place, even if it's a twist on it that, like, if you heard it during a chat, you would know exactly what we're talking about. Like, oh, it's a horrible example, but like magical place. So you still know that it's sacred, or the valley of sacredness. That's horrible. You know? Please don't use that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you get the idea though. That's awesome.
Yeah, where you have some word in there, so the sacred maybe shows up somewhere in the phrase, or if the ceremony, if we really, really want to make it obvious, we could call it the, okay, again, don't use this as a real example, but like the drinking ceremony, you know, to, yeah, just kind of nail it down. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun looking through all the ideas, guys. So thank you.
Yes. And while they're leaving their comments, do you want to tell them about next week, what we get to do next week?
Yes. So next week we are going to talk just about the fun and games, because the fun and games takes a huge chunk of the book.
Yeah.
So once we figure out what is happening, what the Act 2 world is sort of going to look like, and maybe what their goal or their mission is going forward, together or separate or against each other, what happens, we need to know, okay, what is like going to happen on this either upward or downward spiral towards the midpoint, that's sort of going to fill in and like sort of deliver on the promise of the premise, which, as some of you pointed out, and we also recognize, is like we haven't really totally nailed that down. So we need to nail that down, so that next week we can do some brainstorming for the fun and games.
So please, 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 if you have ideas for the fun and games, start leaving them in the comments. I've got a feeling it's going to be the biggest one yet, because whenever I get to the fun and games and writing my novel, that's always where I get stuck, honestly, just being totally honest with you guys. That's usually the place where I'm like, what happens here? It's so big. And I'm so lost. So let us know.
You're like, how does it like actually work out, right? And we don't need like every single scene, but we need some markers, you know, to mark the journey, right?
Exactly. Yes. And so definitely leave comments if you're watching on the replay. Leave comments on names that you like for all the things we just mentioned. Maybe should I put like a little comment afterwards when we're done and just put like, here's all the things we're looking for if you want to. Okay, I'll do that afterwards. I'll put a little comment so you guys know all the things we're looking for. And then, yeah, definitely leave us notes going ahead for fun and games so we can really just jump right in. I think that's everything. I'm seeing such cool names, you guys. I'm so excited right now. We don't have time to read them out though, because we got to go. But thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you guys are having fun.
We'll see you next week on my channel, same time, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time or 5:30 Central Standard Time. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed to both of us so that you don't miss either of these. And we're super excited to continue. We'll be halfway done, you guys, basically, with this series. So yay!
So exciting. Yay. Okay, I think we got everything. Do you feel good about it?
Yeah, and everybody's saying this was so much fun. So we're so excited, you guys, that you want to keep doing this with us, even though sometimes we're like, we're a little lost, but we're getting there, and you guys are totally helping us. So it's super cool to do this with you.
Exactly. I definitely back that up. Thank you so much for letting us know that you're having fun and that we're not crazy. So yeah, we will see you guys next week on Brittany's channel. Don't forget. We'll see you then. Bye. Bye.